I made a mistake. Nerd! Hi, I'm Steve. I'm an INTP. So on a previous video, I got called out for making a mistake. INTJ on progress said the sensory was wrong. I was talking about Shan from Objective Personality and how she has TE at the top of her stack and FI at the bottom of her stack. But then I got the middle wrong. She has NI and SE, not SI and NE. My response to INTJ on progress was 7SE, yo, 7SE. And INTJ on progress didn't know what that meant. Well, let me explain. Most cognitive function models take into account 4 cognitive functions, like the stack I showed you for Shan. But there are 8 cognitive functions. There's sensing versus intuition, there's thinking versus feeling, and there's an introverted and extroverted version of each of those, making 8 functions in total. Now, some folks will say there's only 4 functions, you can't have more than that. Objective Personality only studies 4 functions, although Shan and Dave do say regularly that everyone does everything. Personality Hacker only works with 4 functions, and they say that 8 function models are compelling, but they don't find them useful in their coaching experience, so they don't teach them. The biggest 8th model function comes from Dr. John Beebe, where he splits between 4 conscious functions and 4 subconscious functions. Maybe I'll do a full review of his model at some future point. Let me know in the comments if you would like that. Here's the way I view it. As an INTP, first I have introverted thinking, validating true-false statements and stacking them up. Then I have extroverted intuition, gathering abstract concepts. Third, I have introverted sensing. That's deepening my observations of material objects. And fourth, I have extroverted feeling, validating good and bad across many situations and people. Then there are the subconscious functions. 5TE, extroverted thinking. Extroverted thinking I see as validating true and false across many situations or across many people's experience. I am not good at TE. I find it challenging. So where a TE user would just check true, false in this situation, true, false in this situation, true, false in this situation, what I do is I approximate that with my 1TI and my 2NE. So I look, is this true in this situation? And then my TI wants to stack up more, but I have to use my NE to brainstorm and find the next case that's applicable to this logical point. And I validate, is it true in this case? Then I have to brainstorm with my NE again to find the next point and validate, is it true in this case? Similarly, for 6NI, I have trouble stacking abstract concepts on top of one another, but I can approximate that with 1TI and 2NE. So I can logically validate a point, and then I can imagine all the abstract concepts around it, but instead of letting my mind wander through all those abstract concepts, I have to use my TI to focus in on something specific. And once I've focused in, I can find space there to find more abstract ideas. And then again, I have to not let my NE get away with itself. I have to use my TI to focus in, to build that stack of abstract concepts up further and further. So you get this stack of TI and E going up and up and up, but it's a little wobbly. It still manages to stack up concepts and it still manages to go across many logical cases, but it's kind of wonky. It involves much more effort and takes much more time than an NI user like an INTJ or an INFJ or even an ENTJ or an ENFJ just stacking up the abstract concepts with their NI. And the same with TE, where an INTJ, an ISTJ, or an ENTJ or ESTJ would be able to just check across all the cases easily. It takes me a little bit more effort to logically validate and move between each one. 7SE, this is much trickier. Anytime I have to gather in new sensory, deal with new material objects, deal with new physical experiences like sports, there will be this kind of tug of war between my 2NE and my 3SI. My 2NE will be like, oh, I see what's going on here. We're gathering, so I'm going to gather abstract concepts. But then I fail to gather the actual sensory experience. Then my 3SI is like, I got it. We're talking about material objects. We're talking about sensory information. So I'm going to deepen further in, deepen further in. So instead of catching the ball that's thrown at me, I just more deeply feel the anxiety of, will I catch the ball? So 2NE and 3SI both try to gather the sensory, but they fumble it. Dr. Beebe's model calls the seventh function the trickster, comparing it to characters like Loki in Norse mythology or Puck in Shakespeare. And in socionics, the seventh function is called the point of least resistance. It's where you can really mess someone up based on their personality type. And finally, there is 8FI, introverted feeling. I have no idea what I like, ever. Don't ask me what my favorite is. I will not be able to tell you. The closest I can get to is that my 3SI will be able to tell you something I'm familiar with, a movie that I saw that I didn't hate, so maybe I liked it. I eat this food regularly, so I like it. But then it becomes hard for me to tell, is that really my feeling, or is it what I feel other people will approve of with my 4FE? It's hard for me to tell because in objective personality, we would call 3SI and 4FE my demon functions, the things that are higher stakes for me, the things that I don't want to get wrong. So when I put up Shan's stack, my TI and NE saviors are really focused on getting the information about her TE being on top and her FI on the bottom being right. But faced with the new sensory experience of looking at myself on video while I'm editing this, I fail to notice that sensory information. But the point is not to make excuses. The point is to be aware of what obstacles you face based on your personality type, and to be aware that you're not the only one facing them. There are lots of other INTPs who have trouble with sensory experience. Sometimes they face it head on by getting really into sports, and then it becomes part of their 3SI, something that a sensory experience that they have control over, that they've used their TI to logically dominate. But sometimes INTPs just avoid new sensory experience, which can bring on a lot of stereotypes about being very shy and not wanting to go out and experience new things. So that's how the seventh function can be a real trickster for me in INTP and for you and your personality type as well. Would you like me to talk about your trickster for your personality type? Leave me a comment and maybe I will. For now, thanks for watching. I've been Steve, the INTP.